Hi there, it's Rachel, and I have a good friend and previous colleague. Gosh, Paul, have known each other for whatever a decade now from
I
real
believe it's
estate.
been 10 years exactly.
Yeah, Paul Gallagher. Some of you may know him from coming to previous lunch and learns or presentations that we've done, but you may not know him. He is very well known in Frederick County, Virginia. He is one of the top producing agents in our area, specifically for 55 plus sales, and has a lot of knowledge, experience, and expertise with that. For those of you that don't know me well, I work in a continuing care retirement community. So Paul essentially is helping people downsize and sell their homes and find something in a 55 plus community, or even looking at downsizing out of a 55 plus community. And then I'm helping folks figure out not only retirement housing square footage needs, but also care needs for independent living, assisted living, skilled nursing, and memory care. So together, we have a lot of prospects, clients, friends, family, adult children, and things that we potentially have overlaps. What I wanted to do here today was have Paul talk a little bit about the real estate market in general, specifically some about 55 plus neighborhoods and especially our Lake Frederick neighborhood. We have a lot of friends that live there or moving from there to here. So we're going to have some conversations about that and just a little general insight about what we can expect for the rest of 2025 if we're thinking about downsizing later this year. So, Paul, why don't you tell everyone a little bit about some of your most recent sales in Lake Frederick, how that's gone, and what you think buyers that are looking for 55 plus experience are kind of looking for right now in this moment?
Sure. At the start of the year, I had 3 people buy in Lake Frederick. They closed in January or early February. I just had a closing there last week, which was a quick delivery home. All those experiences have gone well. The market in Lake Frederick is really its own little microcosm. It's not necessarily doing what the rest of the market is doing outside of it. Right now, Trilogy at Lake Frederick is by itself in our area as far as something that's offering amenities, established things to do. There are 2 new communities that are just starting to be built. One has just started selling homes, and one has not even started selling homes yet. One is Hyatt's Point out in Snowden Bridge, and another one is coming on Cedar Creek Grade. Neither have their facilities even started yet. You're at least a year out from that happening. The great thing about Lake Frederick is it is a very established community. There's already lots of clubs and activities for people to do there. All my clients in there are extremely busy with all it has to offer. It's a beautiful place, and the restaurant there is fantastic. So everyone who I know lives there absolutely loves it. The people I bring out there, when I first meet them and they're not even sure what state they want to be in, I bring them out there. And I'd say at least half of them by the time they leave are like, all right, we want to live here. We don't want to look anywhere else. This is
Yeah.
the neighborhood we want to
It's a
be in.
great place. It's a beautiful community and everyone's very friendly. It's a very nice place and very well maintained.
I tell my clients too, like, look, this is an active community. You're buying the community first, the house second. So if you don't think you're going to really use any of these amenities or be parts of the clubs and activities, you probably want to look elsewhere if you're just looking for main level living and yard care.
Right, because there's
Uh,
different price points with the square footage, right?
oh, absolutely. I
55
mean,
plus square footage is priced very differently than regular square footage in residential real
yes,
estate.
it's usually priced higher than normal real estate, but it's always been a great market. I've been doing it for 10 years now, and it's always been a very steady market. And I think right now in Lake Frederick, right now, the developer does not have a lot to offer. They've been behind, so they've started finishing out the street where they have the models to give people something to do while they wait for more lots to be released. They really don't have many right now. The last I looked, which was last week, they didn't have any lots that back to trees, and they're
Okay.
really going to start losing. They're not going to have any more lots that back to the lake. So they're kind of running out of what they're going to be able to offer as far as those things go. And I will say, in that community, if you back to trees, it's much easier to sell your home than if you back to another house.
Correct.
You do want to allow some time for yourself to sell. If you're backing to trees, I think you can sell your house within a month to 45 days. You just have to make sure you're priced correctly. If you're backing the trees, I would allow for probably at least 60 days, maybe more. Sometimes you just got to find that right fit, the people that really like your house and don't mind that someone's right behind them. There's always a steady market, especially with people coming from New York, Connecticut, New Jersey. They have kids in Northern Virginia. They want to be near the grandkids, but they don't want to be raising the grandkids.
Right.
And also, they don't want to be in Northern Virginia and pay the higher cost of living. So they come out to Lake Frederick. It's a very nice community, and only an hour away from Fairfax, Arlington, and you're
Airports for
only an hour from
travel.
the
Yeah.
airport. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So also with working inside of Lake Frederick and also at some places where you and I have worked together is there are a lot of people right now this spring that are a little nervous about what the stock market's doing, potentially a little nervous about losing some of this great equity they've built over the years in their home if things would shift a little bit. What's some of the advice you have for people that are looking to downsize from a larger home and take some of that investment and invest it in downsizing into a fun, active community like a 55 plus community, or like what we've worked on, investing that equity into continuing care, long-term care planning. When kind of approaching the downsizing of a large house right now, I think some people are really nervous about, I've lived in the house for 20, 30 years. Should I do repairs? Should I not do repairs? Is somebody going to come in and just renovate all of this? What's some of the big steps that you take as a listing agent when you go in for somebody that has a 4,000 square foot home that is between 20 and 40 years old and they're looking to resell right now in the Shenandoah Valley?
well, the first step is, I walk through with the owner, room by room. Just check for some of the things they'll bring up. They usually have a list of, hey, these are the things we're thinking of doing or not. And depending on the house and what they want to do, tell them whether or not it's worth doing. Sometimes you can spend $10,000 fixing a problem that you shouldn't have fixed. You can put that money somewhere else. If you have a roof that's pretty about to be at the end of its life, it's always good to replace that. But, sometimes painting can be good. Painting will make the home show well, but sometimes people may move in and just paint a new color. So it's very different from house to house as far as what people have in their home. But I like to be able to guide them on where to wisely put their money so that they don't needlessly spend money on something. Nothing's worse than going in and telling someone, I really wish you hadn't spent the money on that.
Yeah.
It would have been better used somewhere else. And so I like to help people guide them with that because I've only people who are a year or two off
Mhm.
selling and they just kind of want some guidance on where they should go with some of the stuff. Like you don't want to do a remodel of your kitchen because you're not going to have time to enjoy that if you're going to turn around and sell it and you're not
Right.
going to get that money back. I will say all the people I know that have finally made that transition wish they had done it sooner. A lot of them, I wish I'd done this 5 years ago. A lot less of their time would have been spent maintaining the house, taking care of the yard, you know, worrying about what they're going to do with all the stuff in their house
Oh,
that they know isn't going to go with them. It's just always there on their mind. Like, I got to get rid of that. I got to get rid of that. And a lot of them, once they get started, they really get in a groove of getting stuff out of the house. And it's kind of weird. It gets easier for them once they really
mhm.
start doing it. Okay, I haven't looked at this in 5 years. I don't need this anymore. And I have some guys too that can help, like with junk, like not that it's junk, but remove all things from their home that they no
Yeah.
longer want anymore.
Yeah, at Habitat for Humanity, we contract out junk luggers a lot in the area, and they're
Oh,
great to
okay.
work with. Lots
Also
of
use college hunks as
yeah, they do good. We have some local vendors that are personal organization and downsizing experts that we recommend. folks and help them identify this needs to go to auction, this needs to go to storage, this needs to go to the landfill, or
Yeah.
help people ship things to kids or loved ones that they want them to have. Those things are really important conversations to have. And what I tell everyone is I feel like the biggest barrier for people to make a decision to downsize into a smaller home or into a 55 plus community or into a community like ours that has care options and planning for the future is a lot of times stuff is like a big barrier to making that decision. Because I feel
Well,
like when you're wearing the hat of managing the maintenance of your home, all of the things that go with it, and all of the things that can sometimes be unplanned, like an appliance breaks, or you have a leak in the roof, or who's going to come rake the leaves, or who's going to shovel the snow. You're so busy managing that, then thinking about the process of moving becomes really overwhelming. And that's why it's such a hard decision to make of when's the right time to do it.
sure. And, people do worry about, you know, oh, the market's going down. I should wait.
Mhm.
You got to remember, if the market's going down when you sell your house, then it's going down if you're buying something.
Correct.
Or maybe the market overall for your facility. Maybe that price has gone down a little. I don't know how your price fluctuates for your
Well, that's a really good question. That's a question I get a lot. Since we are not traditional real estate, we're a long-term healthcare plan. We have healthcare pricing. Our contracts ebb and flow with inflation. So our rates either increase or decrease each year for the yearly pricing that we have. Where we see the most flex in the pricing is typically in the monthly fees. Entrance fees for the last couple of years have been trending upwards just because the cost of labor and construction and, new appliances and finishes when we renovate a home. Construction and renovation, especially the way we renovate, isn't a place where we can say, "Oh, we're gonna have less expenses the next year," just the way
yeah,
things have been trending the last 5 to 10 years with
sure,
renovation costs.
absolutely. And another thing too is if you wait till you have to do it,
Right.
I've had a couple clients do it and they really regret it because they're not able to assist as much as they would like to because maybe they're not as mobile or
Yeah.
it's a medical thing and they can't really
Mhm.
do much in order to help facilitate the move. So they're kind of having to watch as other people help move where they're like, if I'd done it 5 years ago, I would, been
Yeah.
able to fully, be a part of everything and help get things moving along. That's why a lot of people I'm happy when a lot of people were able to do it ahead of time
Mm.
and really be able to enjoy time without having to worry about maintaining everything and keeping up the yard. They're like, and
Yeah.
now we just have time to do what we want,
Yeah, and that's the
but
goal with any of this, and trying to be realistic with what your body can do and what support systems that you need, and just being open-minded to be flexible. Maybe you had in your mind things need to go one way, but if there's other choices presented to you, be flexible about exploring those other choices and options. The price point, and you bring up a really good point in this, I always tell everybody it's never going to be more affordable to do it than in the moment that you need the services or you need the space or you need to downsize. So, say for instance, you're in a large home with stairs and you could potentially have a fall or something in that. With that fall, you could have additional medical costs or a surgery that are vastly going to eat up the cost differences of if I would have gotten into a main level home that would have been a little safer for me.
sure.
And then we talk about the currency of independence. I'm meeting with you to see how much I can get for my home, and that's going to determine what I'm going to do. And sometimes when they talk about those renovations, they might tell you, well, we're trying to decide if we're going to sell or we're going to renovate the kitchen and the bathroom so that we can access things easier. I've even had some people tell me, I'm going to do an elevator or something like that.
It's
Really,
expensive.
yeah, it's very expensive. And the conversations I'm having with people is, well, we're going to put an elevator in and that's going to fix our problems. We're just going to stay where we're at. And I'm like, okay, but is the elevator going to take care of you? Or is the elevator gonna make your life easier if you need maintenance to the elevator?
Yeah,
You can renovate. I mean, I've seen people, and I'm sure you've seen people too, that are like, "I'm gonna renovate my home," and they could easily drop 50 grand between a kitchen and a bathroom renovation, and modifying the house that they're currently in for them to age in place, but that still doesn't necessarily mean that all of the problems they could potentially have with maintenance and coordinating people coming in the home is gonna be taken care of. So there's a lot of things to think about. Transportation, that's a really big one, where the home is located and if it's near doctors when you can't drive anymore, who's gonna help you get to appointments and things like that. All of those things are to consider when you're looking at downsizing. If you're a really active person and in the 60s to 70s range, 55 plus is a great option to hang out in for a while, but when you are 80 plus, 55 plus isn't going to solve a lot of your future needs for long term. Because you're looking at 55 plus in that age range, and because the square footage is a premium, that's
Yes.
where you wanna make sure you're maximizing your experience with that too.
And when you go to the modifications, like
Mhm.
modifying your home to make it more accessible for 5 years, and then you have to sell. A lot of people don't want an elevator in their house,
Or they
and
don't
I'm sure
want.
that's eating up space that they either
Right.
took it from a bedroom or a closet that people would rather have than an elevator. So then you're maybe having to spend money to get rid of that or take less for your house because people are going to want to take it out and have to do it after they buy it. Sometimes modifications like that can come back to bite you down the road.
It's
It's
kind of pull
forever.
in. It's kinda like putting a pool in. Sometimes
Yeah,
it's a selling point, sometimes it's not.
it's not
And
always a plus
it's not for
for
everyone too, like, when you start trying to manipulate the design of a house that was never truly had any intention of being accessible,
Mhm.
it you can tell. You can tell
Right.
that it interrupts the flow of the house, things don't fit quite right, it doesn't match the look and feel of the rest of the house, it can potentially hurt resale value unless you find someone else that is like, "Oh, this house has been modified for accessible living, and that's a value to me." It's about finding the right buyers for that too.
Absolutely.
And then just in general in our area, because you serve the Shenandoah Valley, but you also in West Virginia. What are you seeing in our general market with regular residential sales right now? What do you think it's gonna be like this summer?
So I noticed very good December and January. February for me and March slowed down a little bit, but now the market's picking back up again. It's a strange start to the spring market for me though. A lot of people are unsure about what's going to happen. We do get some government people that move out here because they can work from home. Some of them are having to sell and then go
Go back
back,
to
or they're just
work?
going to retire.
I've had
Um,
conversations with folks that have had to retire early because of federal layoffs and things. So they're trying to figure out what they wanna do right now.
from what I'm hearing, yeah, there's also an expectation that rates will start to come back down. If that happens, typically the market is
And
busy.
we've been
So,
operating at pretty low inventory for how long now in our area?
quite a few years,
Yeah.
probably 5 years. We are in the fastest growing area in Virginia. There
Mhm.
are a lot of places around the country where the real estate market is starting to slow down, but it's not here yet. I think we're lucky to be in a place that's always busy because of that. People are always looking to move here to get away from the cost of living, but still be in a
And the
nice
traffic.
community, close to the airport,
Yeah.
somewhat close to the airport, not too far from DC. So we're very fortunate to work in this area.
And our area has been in the top 10 places to retire from Forbes for years. A lot of people
Now,
doing their due diligence and research really tune into that. Our access to healthcare systems, cost of living, and then all of the art and the culture here, fun things to do, farmers markets and things. It's very, very appealing. You mentioned you're working with a lot of people that are coming from, north and coming down. I actually am working with a lot of people that are coming up from Florida and the
yeah,
Carolinas because they're tired of the weather and beach traffic and all of that, that their original game plan was to retire beach life, and now because of the weather and the climate, they are thinking they wanna come back and have some calm weather and 4 seasons again.
yeah, I've had some Florida people too, just because homeowners insurance down there has gotten
Oh,
out of
yeah, yeah.
control. It really is a great place to live. I never thought I'd be living here when I'm originally from right outside of Philadelphia, and I never thought I'd be living in Virginia. Here we are, 20 years later.
Yeah, and your business has done nothing but grown since you've started. The combination of the location, being close to DC if you wanna go in and do some fun things there, close to the airports. You're out here in the valley, so you've got some beautiful views, kinda go over the mountain to in West Virginia, and there's even more affordable cost of living options and things out there, so we're really pocketed in a really special area,
Yeah,
location-wise for especially retirees who are looking to maximize what kinda lifestyle that they want and cost of living.
yeah.
Well, Paul, thanks so much for taking time to chat with me this afternoon. I really appreciate it. I know we've got a lot of mutual friends, but I wanted to put together this video that we could share with prospects and people so that we can just provide a little education about what's going on and hopefully relieve some anxiety when they're thinking about downsizing this spring.
No, my pleasure. Thanks for asking. I always love trying to help keep people updated on what's going on in the market. If anybody ever wants to call me, they're welcome to.
I'll make sure I have Paul's contact information in this video and in the caption. I'll have my contact information as well. Paul is very easy to get a hold of, great with following up, and always open to having conversations and providing education and helping people. That's why he is one of my top people to work with our mutual clients. So I appreciate the time, Paul, and we will definitely be speaking again soon.
No, thank you very much. Yes, it is never hard to get a hold of me. You will never hear that. I did not get right back to someone. Thanks again. It's always a pleasure, Rachel.
Great. Thanks, Paul.
Take